Hello, everybody. It's Pastor Malcolm in the PM. It's been a while since I've had an opportunity to sit down and do one of these, and I just wanted to touch base with you all and see how life is going, and also prepare you for some exciting things that are coming down the pike. First of all, I'm sitting in the Martha Manahan room, and I'm sitting in one of these very nice, comfortable chairs in this room, and it kind of reminded me of when I was growing up. I don't know if this was the way it was at your house, but my father never considered the house as a democracy. In fact, he made it very clear it was a monarchy there, and he was king, and my mother was queen, and so we always had to listen to everything they said. Well, there was one tradition that was very specific that my father always continued to endorse as long as he had children in his home, and that is my father had a chair. Now, I don't know if your father had a chair when you were growing up, or maybe if you're young, your father currently has a chair in their house. And the rule is that we could sit in Dad's chair as long as Dad wasn't around. But as soon as Dad walked into the room, the first thing that had to happen was what? You had to beat feet. You had to get out of that seat really quick so that that Dad's chair was ready for him. Anyways, it made me think when my father got much older, he and my mother had a dog, and one day I went over to visit their house, and he was down in the basement, and he was sitting in his chair, but instead of sitting back in his chair, he was perched on the edge of his chair, and their dog, at that time, the dog's name was Muffin or something, and Muffin was sitting in the back of the chair. And I don't know about you, but I took great umbrage that Muffin was sitting in a chair and my father was perched on the edge. That would never have happened when I was growing up. And I bet the same thing wouldn't have happened for you either. Anyways, I wanted to take a moment and I wanted you to walk through the church a little bit and just show you some things that are looking a little bit different from what you're accustomed to when you come here to Westminster. First of all, I think there's a way I can do that. Yeah. So first thing here is that we have our front doors here into our space. It looks like a storm's coming outside. These doors will be wide open on the 5th of July when you come in. You will not have to touch any of the doors. We do have rails that are here, and they'll be available for you. And one thing you're going to notice also is that guess what? All the cushions have been removed and picked up and moved out of the space. In fact, if you look, there is currently nothing in the pews at all, and that's all in order to make it a lot easier for us to clean the space after worship. And as you can see, no cushions. The cushions are all being removed, and that's partially because it's easier to clean bare wood than it is to clean cushions. So let me turn this back around. Here, this area looks pretty familiar because you've been seeing it over the last few weeks through our online recording of worship. And other than the seats being removed, we're going to be doing something else that's kind of unique and different. And that is that, well, my friends, we have limited seating available to us. Technically, we can hold up to 1/2 of the number of people in our worship space according to the governor's rules. However, that would mean that people would be sitting closer than 6 feet apart from one another. So, we are estimating on our first Sunday, we're going to be able to accommodate about 75 people here in our worship space. What that means is that we're going to have to take reservations for folks who are going to be able to join us at Center&Main for worship. So, you're going to see a link in the comments of this video, and you're going to have an opportunity also through the e-Herald and the Bulletin next Sunday to reserve through SurveyMonkey the number of seats that you believe you and your family will need. Now, it's very important for you to understand that you can only make reservations for yourself and your family and those people that are part of your family unit in your own household. So, if your family is coming in from out of town, and they're staying with you, and then that's a slightly different reason, but you're not going to be making reservations for you and your kids who are all grown up and have kids of their own and try to sit all together in one pew if you're not living in the same household. So we're trying to create a social distance opportunity for all those who come into worship. They can make their own reservations. You can make the reservations in their name, but you can't include them as part of your count on your reservation. So I know that some of you are multi-families who come, grandparents and parents and kids and grandchildren all come together on Sunday mornings. Just make sure that everyone makes their own reservation. Another different thing is that, just like my dad's chair, unfortunately, you're not going to be able to sit in your assigned seats. You know those assigned seats. That's where you normally sit every Sunday morning you come here. This is no longer normal. So when you come in, the ushers are going to seat you. We're going to be seating from the front to the back, and we're going to start seating from the center aisle. You're going to walk down the center aisle, and then we'll be seating into the pews, and then you'll be actually exiting through the side doors. All of that is necessary so that we can minimize the amount of contact of people touching different things. And that is really vital. We're trying to make sure that everyone leaves and first of all feels comfortable about coming, and second, feels comfortable about leaving, and that they're taking something with them that they didn't bring to begin with. So if you normally have your own seat and it's really going to bother you not to sit in your seat on that first Sunday back, then my recommendation is this, and I say this with all sincerity. We can assure you a space in worship, we cannot assure you of your normal seat. But if it's really going to bother you, you can't sit in your normal seat, my suggestion is that join us in the pre-recorded services beginning in July, just like we have been doing on Sunday mornings, and join us through worship in that medium. That way you can sit in your chair in your home in the comfort and enjoy the same service. In fact, your service at home will actually have music that you can sing to and participate in, whereas in here, we're going to be using ASL in order to share the song. So we won't be voicing and vocalizing any of the music. We will have over here, I don't know if you can see this, it's been behind me all this time, but we have over here actually a little place with a piece of glass that Kyler put in, and we'll have a soloist here, and then separated by the altar, we'll have another soloist over here, and they'll actually be able to sing and lead us. Meanwhile, we're hoping that Bill Pond will join us here, and he'll be signing, and we'll all be learning sign as part of our service when we come back. So all that's to say is that there's a lot of things that are coming together in order for us to have worship on July 5th, live in-person worship here at Center&Main. Westminster United Methodist Church is very excited about this opportunity. And I know that many of you have been looking forward. In fact, some of you have already been said, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be there. Well, we can have 75 people, and at that point we have to cut it off. And then if we see that there's a sufficient amount of spacing in that service, then what we'll do is we'll go ahead and the next Sunday we'll increase the number. A lot depends on how well we are following the rules according to the CDC, the governor's rules for reopening, and making sure that everything is clean. A couple other things that you might need to know about is that we will not take an offering. Oh yes, everybody's so excited, we won't take an offering. But that doesn't mean you can't bring your offering, because we're actually going to have plates that are going to be set up out here. I'm now walking down the aisle on the side, because this is the way that we're going to exit. And we'll actually exit through this door. This door will actually be propped open. And over here, I'll flip it around again. See, we have these little credence tables. Normally they're holding flowers there in the lobby, and those will actually have offering plates there. There will also be an offering plate that is going to be set here. I don't know whose Propel bottle, but they're probably missing that right now. We will have Purell dispensers. There's going to be 2 up here in the lobby, and we're going to encourage everybody to make sure that they wash their hands as they leave the space on Sunday morning. We'll also serve communion on the 5th of July. We actually have they're a little thing about this big. Actually, they're really small. But they're actually pre-wrapped communion and wafer, all individually wrapped, and we'll have those available. But if you're not comfortable using that, you are also invited to bring your own communion elements if you would prefer to do that. All we're going to do is encourage that whatever you bring in with you, you make sure you take out with you, so that we don't leave any of ourselves behind. So That's a lot of stuff. And that was a slightly longer pastor in the PM than I was looking for. And I'm a little out of breath, all this running around. So, my friends, my commendation to you is this. If you are comfortable with coming and joining us for worship on the 5th of July, make your reservation early. We'll take reservations up till about the 3rd of July, but as soon as we have 75 people, we have to cut it off at that point. Don't be upset if you don't get to come in on the first Sunday. We will be continuing to do this in the succeeding weeks, and we're just going to kind of go with the flow. That's one of the things we're going to have to learn, is that we're just going to have to be very comfortable, very go with the flow, not get uptight. Remember that, you're not going to have your normal seat. I don't want that to preclude you from not coming, but at the same time, I don't want you to get heartache over not being able to sit in that one place. We're trying to decide whether it's more important for us to be safely all gathered together in one place, or we're going to sit there and try to make reserved spaces, and we're not doing that. We're just reserving a space, but not a particular seat. So, perhaps you have some ideas about how we can do this. My encouragement to you is put your comments in the marks below and let us know. As I said, for those of you who are taking us through our pre-recorded services each week, by all means, they're going to continue. And so if you feel that that is the best way for you to participate, by all means, do it. Until we see you again, don't worry about your seat. My father doesn't complain about his seat anymore, and even later in life, he learned how to share. Maybe we can learn the same thing as well. And until we see you again later this week, this is PM in the PM. God bless everybody. Bye now.